Hey everyone, what's up? It's Scott the Frozen Gamer, and I'm coming at you today with 14 brand new games that just got added to BGG, like into their database in this past week and a half, because I'm a little late coming out with this video. So these are brand new games, like brand spanking new onto BGG. So because of that, some of these games may take some of what I talk about them. The mechanisms may change in the game, the themes may change, the years they come out may change. They may not come out at all. They may be coming out tomorrow, as I experienced from the last video I made. So let's just get started. I'm going to give you a couple bonus games here to begin with, because these are just second editions of games that have already come out. The first one is Keystone North America, which is supposed to be coming out with the second edition in 2025. It's the same team that made the first game, same exact team. In the game, their blurb is strategically place cards to build a thriving ecosystem as a wildlife biologist. There isn't a whole lot. It doesn't really say at all what's changing about the games, but it is getting a new look and some new mechanisms, I guess. And the look of the board, or the cover here, is very pretty, in my belief. The other one is a game that I actually kind of get confused with the Keystone games, and it's the trekking games, and this is Trekking the World. Is coming out with a second edition sometime in 2024. The designers are Nick Bentley, who did Oceans and Her Story, and Charlie Bink, who's done all the trekking games. The artists are a team of 5 different artists, and the publisher is Underdog Games, which did all the trekking games along with Her Story and Coconuts of all games. Very different than the other two. This one is going to have a major redesign. And that's what the blurb says. A major redesign of a light strategy game about the wonders of travel. So there's 3 big changes that they talked about. The first one is that it's going to be a draft and race game instead of a set collection game and race game. So that's just going to drastically change everything right there, because that's a whole different type of mechanism. There's going to be special powers that you get for free by visiting certain areas in the board, various destinations. And then the last one, yay for solo gamers, they're going to have a solo mode coming out as well. So those are 3 of the big changes. They also mentioned 12 other rule changes that are happening in this game. As I said, this is a complete redesign of Trekking the World. So those are my 2 bonuses of second editions. I got one other bonus here, and this one is for expansions. I don't plan to talk much about expansions, but I had to talk about this one. This is from my gateway game that got me into the hobby, my first game, Carcassonne, a game that I still love, still on my shelf. I did a musical song about it. And this one is an expansion, one of God knows how many at this point, but it's called Carcassonne Snakes and Ladders. And yes, it's exactly what you're thinking. It is snakes and ladders in Carcassonne. Basically, all they did was put some snakes on the scoring board, the scoring tracker, along with some ladders. And if you land on a snake's mouth, you slide down the score track and lose points. And if you land on a ladder, you go up and gain points. Yeah. That's all I'll say about that. I had to mention it because it's so bizarre. So now let's get into the 14 games that I'm actually recommending to take a peek at, of games that are added brand new to BGG right now. They are in alphabetical order, no preference on my part. So the first one is Arabian Struggle. It's a 2 to 3 player game, 60 to 90 minutes, coming out in 2024. The designers are Nick Porter and Tim Urin. Tim Urin did Middle-earth Quest, and he did the expansions to Battlestar Galactica, a game I love. Artist is Ilya Kudryashov, and the publisher is Catastrophe Games. And they've published 2 games that I really want to try, the Judean Hammer and Stonewall Uprising. In this game, their blurb is 3 players vie for control of the Arabian Peninsula and its future. It's a war game, and it says it's a card-driven action point area majority game. So without seeing any pictures of the actual game, I'm guessing that it's very similar to Twilight Struggle. But the interesting part about this one, not only Twilight Struggle is just a 2-player game, this is a 2 or 3-player game, and you're always going to have 5 factions in the game, no matter how many people are playing, because there will be 2 or 3 non-player factions. I believe it's the Ottoman and the British empires, if I remember correctly, and that those 2 factions will cause extra interference in the game. And this will be coming to Kickstarter as of now. Game number 2 is Arctic. It's a 2 to 4 player game, 10-minute little filler, 2024 release. The designer is Cedric Lefevre, who did Yggdrasil. The artist is Christine Elkouf, who did Paper Tales, and she's done many other games too, but Paper Tales aesthetic is kind of the closest look that Arctic has. So that's why I put down that one. And the publisher is Ludonaut, who did Lewis and Clark and Cold Express, a game that I like a lot. The blurb is, scan the snowy expanse of the Arctic, hoping to catch a glimpse of its inhabitants. So you're trying to make the longest sequence of animal cards, and then there's going to be the landscape, and you're going to try to move animals along the landscape, or you're going to be moving animals along the landscape based off the cards you play, is my guess. But you're trying to you have a secret animal called the totem animal that you're trying to get as far as you can. Out of all the animals you're moving, you're trying to get yours the furthest. The art's really pretty. I like all the different Arctic animals that are in the game. It seems like a nice little thinky filler game. The next game, number 3, is Bacterium. This is with an exclamation mark, Bacterium! This is a 2-player game. It's 15 to 25 minutes, 2024 release. The publisher is Nima Games, which is Daniela Selagia out of Italy. This is definitely a passion project game. It's 2 players compete to evolve the most bacteria on their newborn planet. So the theme of the game is our planet was just born, and we're trying to evolve bacteria to help form life on the planet. So what I love about this game, I don't really know how the game actually works yet. They have some cards on it that they show, but I don't know the mechanisms. But I love the twist where the bacteria, instead of like how we usually think that they're going to be destroying life or killing, making people sick or killing in general, this one is we're forming life out of the bacteria. They're friendly bacteria to help form life. And the artwork is adorable. They show a couple of the bacteria pictures and they're just ridiculously cute. So definitely a light take on the theme, and it's going to be coming to Kickstarter sometime in 2024, it looks like. Next game, number 4, is Elder Garden. This is 1 to 4 players, 60 to 90 minutes, 2024 release. All it has is the publisher listed right now, which is Headquarters Simulation Game Club. The only other game that they've really produced is the improvement of the Polis, I don't know how to pronounce that word. Their blurb is, become the leader of the cult and aim to revive the evil gods. So this is a Cthulhu world game. There's not a lot on the game, but what I do know is we are the cultists and we're trying to do anything to get in the favor of the elder gods. But if we get too close to them, bad things will happen. So we can exploit believers, we can make offerings, we can pray, or we can offer ourselves to the gods, which I just think is great. But if we offer ourselves too much to the gods, then they'll probably make us go crazy. I don't know. It just seems like such a fun little mechanism, a fun little thematic ping to the game. And I'm currently listening to the podcast, the Lovecraft Investigation, so I'm totally into this theme right now. So part of what attracted me to this one, and I like that in this one we're the cult leaders, instead of just being the good guys, the investigators trying to hunt down the cultists and the elder gods. This time we're actually the evil side, we're the cultists. And I find the cultists to actually be the most intriguing part of all the Cthulhu mythos stuff, more than the elder gods. So I like that a lot. The next game is F1 Roll and Race. 2 to 99 players, 15 to 30 minutes, 2024 release. The designer and artist is Santiago Zanon. The publisher is Titan Board Games out of Spain. And their blurb is, F1 Roll and Race is a game for F1 racing fans in roll and write format. Exactly as you'd expect from the title. So if you're into Formula One, you might be interested in this roll and race game. There's going to be multiple circuits to race on. All the cars are going to have asymmetric abilities. You can upgrade the cards and you can have damage and breakdowns happen to the cars. You can play a one-off or as a championship series, which will have rankings in the championship series. I like F1 a lot. I like roll and writes a lot, so this definitely appeals to me. The ranking system just kind of makes me laugh, and I think it could be really cool. I just think of Ender's Game, when I think about the ranking system. I'm thinking about like playing this game at a convention or with like online with like 20, 25 people, and how the rankings are just gonna, after each race, we'll just kind of move around and we're constantly looking at the ranking system. This game will be coming to Kickstarter, so that's F1, Roll and Race. Next game, staying in the Fs, is Fabulous Vegas. It's 2 to 4 players, 60 to 120 minutes, 2024 release. No designer listed yet. The artist is Bianca Papalardo, and the publisher is Tavern Games. And the blurb is improve your casinos and be the one that attracts the most visitors. So the setting is the 1950s style casinos of Las Vegas. It's a worker placement game where you build VIP facilities, you upgrade rooms, and hire better staff. There's going to be, as you hire your staff, more and more staff, and better staff, it's going to enhance your actions, which I think is kind of cool sounding. And then each visitor that comes gives you victory points, and the visitors are going to start, from my understanding, start on one side of the board at the airport, and you have to attract them to the strip, to your casino on the strip. So they're moving across the board, and you have to get them to your casino. I think that's what it plays, and in my mind, that is awesome. The theme is in the 1950s, which is great for a casino game because that's very iconic, right? And because it's in the 1950s, there is definitely mobsters that are going to be in the game to make things harder for us. And I haven't played a good Euro game, a good Euro casino game in a long time. I have, if I move my head here, yeah, you can kind of see it right there is a good casino game, Las Vegas in the Cube edition. That is definitely not a Euro game. The last casino Euro game that I played that I liked a lot was Vegas Showdown, which is the really old one over a decade ago. I played it over a decade ago, and it's got the really cool theme of building a casino, the interior of a casino with auction mechanisms in it, but on that really cheap components, and they've never updated the components in all the editions that have come out. So I'm excited about Fabulous Vegas because hopefully it will be a good casino Euro game. It sounds like it will be. And this one will be coming to Kickstarter as well. Next game is Gnome Kingdom. It's 2 to 5 players, 35 to 60 minutes, 2024 release. The designers are Charlotte and Frederick Jensen Hummelur. The artist is Carlos Ulefi, and the publisher is New Moments Games out of Denmark. I believe it is the Hummelur's company. The blurb says, Gnome clan leaders race through an enchanted forest using dice manipulation. So we're going to be clan leaders, and we're racing to see who should become the leader of the Gnome Kingdom. We're collecting forest resources, we have unique powers, player powers, and we're going to be rolling lots of dice in the game. It says it has a re-rolling locking mechanism in the game, so I'm assuming that is similar to a Yahtzee, King of Tokyo, Elder Sign style dice rolling mechanism, and which will be I find very enjoyable, especially if it has dice manipulation in it. It's not just Yahtzee where you roll and have to keep, but if we can actually manipulate the dice too on top of it, I think that's going to make that mechanism even better. There's modular boards, various player powers, tile placement, and it's a racing game. Those are all like my favorite mechanisms. So that has this game right up my alley. What doesn't have it up my alley is the theme of the game. I don't like fantasy, but all those mechanisms make me excited about this one. And despite not liking a fantasy theme, this box art that they have is the art that they have out right now, and it is super, super cute. All the little gnomes, and they all have their own unique little hats. Like, as you can see when I put it up on the screen here, one of them has a mushroom hat, one has a little blackberry hat, and one has an acorn hat. Super cute, super whimsical, and with the mechanisms in this game, I'm really excited about it. Next game is Happy Home. It's 2 to 5 players, 15 to 30 minutes, 2024 release. The designers are Matthew Dunstan and Brett J. Gilbert, co-designing it. Together they did the Guild of Merchant Explorers, Elysium, which I believe was a recommended Spiel game, Kenner Spiel, and Chocolate Factory. I might be wrong about Elysium, but I think it was. Matthew Dunstan by himself recently did Next Station London, and Brett J. Gilbert recently did Mandala by himself as well, so just amazing, amazing game designers. The publisher is Alley Cat Games, which did Dice Hospital as one of their games, and their blurb was, use polyomino pieces to decorate your first home. So the theme of the game is we're going to be going shopping to do some interior decoration of your home. Of course using polyomino tiles. So we're going to be trying to complete sets within our home and fulfill specific objectives to get the points, to get us points when we're designing. It sounds like it has a ratchet system in it when you go shopping. So you're going to be moving around the shopping area, and if you go, you can go however far you want to get the piece of furniture that you want to buy, but anyone behind you can then take as many turns until they pass you on that board, in this case the shopping board. So ratchet mechanisms are amazing. Down in the bottom corner you'll see Glenmore 2 just barely in screen there, and it's known for its ratchet mechanism. I love that mechanism in games, and that's what has me excited about Happy Home. And it's another light filler. The pedigree of designers, man, you just can't pass it up. Next game is one that I'm really excited about. This is Vent Rouge. Le Vent Rouge. In America, we would say Vent Rouge, because we don't know how to speak French in America. We don't know any other languages. So it's a 2 to 4 player game, 60 to 120 minutes, coming out in 2025. The designers are Dustin DePenning and Jason Hager. Jason Hager just did Unmatched Adventures Tales to Amaze. Jason's also doing the art in the game, and it's going to be published by Willpower Games. Now this is a dice roll and their blurb was a dice roll and spend game with push your luck and negotiation. So the theme of the game is the famous thief Vent Rouge has challenged all other thieves, which are us, the players of the game, to rob the richest man of France. And we have to get the valuables out of this mansion, we have to team up, but we also have to compete against each other, but we have to team up so we don't get caught by the guards. But of course, we're trying to get the most valuables than anyone else that's in there. The theme of the game just completely got me. It has negotiation in the blurb, and I adore games where you can play them above the table as much as you play them on the table. So negotiation is one of those mechanisms that automatically makes you play it above the table, and I love that. And this is Jason Hager's follow-up to Unmatched Adventures, Tale to Amaze, which the Dice Tower gave like the most rave review of that I've seen from them in a long time. So that has me excited to see what he does next. And this will be a Kickstarter release. The next game is Sail or Die, which is a 2 to 5 player game, 20 minutes long, 2024 release. That's designed by Andreas Price. The artist is Ulik Bagel, and the designer is Loosey Goosey Games, who did Bag of Butts, which I believe Andreas Price designed. That one, Dice Tower kind of poo-pooed, pun intended. And Surfasaurus Max was their most recent game that they released, which Dice Tower loved and gave great reviews to, and many people gave a great review to. So this blurb for Sail or Die is play to cheat and shed your cards. It's a card shedding, ladder climbing game. You want to keep your points. You start with points and you want to keep them, but get rid of all of your cards at the same time. And to help you get rid of your cards, you can cheat. But when you cheat, you lose points for cheating. But you get to go faster and losing your cards. But if you don't go fast and don't cheat, you're going to also lose points for not going fast. Now, I love ladder climbing games. I have designed one myself that's hidden behind my head there. And it is just a type of style game that I've been playing since I was a kid, and I really, really enjoy it. So that's going to get me intrigued right off the bat. I love how they created the tension where you can cheat and go fast or go slow and not cheat, but either way is gonna potentially cost you points. You're gonna lose points either way, and that tension of when should I do which sounds like it's gonna be really neat. And again, this is the publisher's follow-up to Surfasaurus Max, or one of their follow-ups to Surfasaurus Max, which was also a lightweight game, card game, and I want to see this next one, how they come out after having a huge success. The next game is Tameri. I believe that's how you pronounce it. It's Tameri. It's 1 to 4 players, 60 to 120 minutes, 2025 release. The designers are Tommaso Alisono and P.S. Martinson. P.S. Martinson did Shogun no Katana. The artist is Samuel Gaudio, who did Maharaja, and the publishers are Placentia Games, and Postscriptum, who did Wendake and Kepler 3042 are their most famous games. Their blurb is worker placement game set in ancient Egypt, master the weather, grow your wealth. So this game is a worker placement game And it follows the normal lives of ancient Egyptians. It's not about the rulers of Egypt, it's just the normal people. It's a farming game with building temples and sphinxes. You're going to be priests inside the temples. And you just heard me say farming, which means it's going to be very Euro. And the cover looks very Euro. It's a worker placement engine building game, and I really like that they focus on the traditional life of the Egyptians. I don't like farming themed games at all, but because this one is within the theme of the overall game, that a lot of traditional people during that time were farmers, so that's just something they're going to be doing. It makes a lot more sense than, you know, a game like Agricola, where it's just about farming for no reason other than it's a farming game. There's going to be weather cycles in the game too, that affect the growth of your farm, and I think that's really cool thematically. And the way, this is what has me most excited about the game, the way the weather works is that it's going to be a marble mechanism where marbles roll through the pyramid and they determine the weather and the crop output. And anytime the marbles are in a game, it's just always fun to have marbles in a game, and they're great for tactile enhancements as well, and it just looks cool and feels cool and sounds cool with the clicking of them, and that just has me excited. And how they use that too, it's just a cool way to use a mechanism in a game. So that's one will be coming out on GameFound eventually. Next game is TREOS, which BGG beat me to the punch of announcing this game. It's 2 to 4 players, 40 to 80 minutes, 2024 release. The designer is Arne Aus dem Siepen, the artist is Gabriel Camagnolo, and the publisher is Lookout Games, who is the German company that does like all of Uwe Rosenberg's games and Grand Austria Hotel. Very much known for their Euro games, kind of dry Euro games. The blurb was 4 characters on a quest to turn their luck around forever. So we're trying to buy a black market luck potion for 20 gold coins. That's the theme of the game. All the game characters are going to be asymmetrical. Each round will be planning 3 turns in advance and then resolve all of them, and the first to 20 gold wins, so we can buy this luck potion. It's an action points and closed drafting system in the game. The turn order is of very much importance because we're going to be playing movement cards in our pre-planning, and whoever plays I believe it's the lowest movement card gets to go first, but you don't get to move as much, and that's going to determine. So what you play, the first card you play is determining the turn order. There's going to be a modular game board with over 1,500 variations, which is just great for replayability. The theme is fun. It's kind of RPG-ish sounding, but it's just a one-off instead of this whole long adventure. And I love the idea of games with programming in them. I say idea of them because I don't like Robo Rally that much, but I love the programming part of it. It's just the game's too long, and I do really and have always liked Colt Express. So this will just hopefully be another good game in the programming line of games. And I find it super interesting that a company that's so well known for their Euro games is coming out with this like thematic non-Euro game, and just to see what they do with that as well will be interesting. Next game is Unstoppable. It's 1 to 2 players, 30 to 90 minutes. It's designed by John D. Clare, who designed Space-Based Dead Reckoning, Cubitos, and Ready Set Bet. People always talk about the SpongeBob on Cubitos. What they don't talk about is the hair on his legs is so bizarre. It is so strange. So anyways, it's going to be no artist listed yet. It's published by Renegade Game Studios, who's done so many great games. It's a roguelite momentum deck builder for solo or cooperative play. The game's going to have a lot of card crafting and deck building to destroy bosses and other threats throughout the game. It's cooperative. It's a cooperative game. When you play it with 2 players, if you play it solo, you're just doing it by yourself. And I'm interested in this most of all because it's John D. Clare, and he's partnering with Renegade Games, and that is just a great, powerful duo. And it can be played solo, and I love my solo games. So the theme and the mechanisms of this game don't really have me too intrigued. It's just not my style, but the duo of Renegade Games, John D. Clare, man, I can't pass up at least looking into this game. The last game of the 14 that I'm recommending is Victory Lane. It's 1 to 8 players, 30 to 60 minutes, 2025 release. The designer is Richard Lanius. The publisher is Mr. B Games, no artist listed yet. And the blurb is simply fast-paced NASCAR game. And Richard Lanius and Mr. B Games partnered to make my favorite NASCAR game, which is right there, Thunder Rolls. That one's a really quirky but smart NASCAR game, and it really simulates NASCAR well through using weird Las Vegas board game style mechanisms, but it really emulates a NASCAR race extremely well. So Richard Lanius designed 5 different NASCAR games during the COVID lockdown time, and one of them was Thunder Rolls. I don't know if Victory Lane was one of the other 5 one of the other 4 that he created, but if it is, that's really exciting that another one from that series of games that he created is going to see the light of day. If it isn't, and it's just a Thunder Rolls re-implement, they say it is a more compact version or faster package. More compact and faster package is what they say it is. So I don't know if that just means it's kind of re-implementing Thunder Rolls into a quicker, less table space game. But that would also be good in a way too if that's what you're looking for, and it still keeps all the feels of Thunder Roll, because Thunder Rolls is a long game and it is sprawling on the table. So that was my 14 games I'm going to recommend, but there's more! I have found this week a bunch of Japanese games that may never make it outside of Japan and the Asian market, but they sounded too cool for me to pass up, and some of the Japanese themes, man, they're so creative and so interesting that I just had to mention these. I'm going to go through them really quick. So the first one is Ame Nochi Kumori Tokidoki Hio. It's the blurb is follow the weather forecast and be prepared for strange things falling from the sky. So this is a trick-taking game with set collection, and you're trying to get weird things, I forgot what they were, but shoes or elephants or whatever falling from the sky. It's the theme of it. Game number 2 of the Japanese games that I'm going to talk about is Elephant Ball Balancing Act. And this one, it says, the blurb is on the swaying ball, period. Both the elephant and the rules are shaking. It's a trick-taking shedding game where you play mini games that you try to win, all while trying to get rid of all of your cards during the trick-taking aspect of the game. And at the same time, you're not trying to not have your elephant fall off the ball. The next one is Take. I believe it's Take, not take. So I'm going to say Take Trick Old Man. The blurb is avoid taking too much take for sustainable bamboo use. So in this game, you're going to be it's another trick-taking game, and you're going to be collecting bamboo with other old men. And there's going to be mysterious glowing bamboo in the game. The next one is Vivo, and this is another trick-taking game where puppies sing and follow format changes every trick, is the blurb. We're going to be a music school teacher raising puppies to sing in a choir. Yes, you heard that right. And the puppies are about to take their entrance exams, and that's what we're doing in the game. So each trick will have its own new format that happens every trick. Then the last one of the trick takers is Who Done Trick. The blurb is a game that screams, "You are the Phantom Thief!" We're a thief disguised as a detective, and we come across a phantom thief also disguised as a detective at the place that we are trying to rob, and we don't want to be framed for the robbery because this phantom thief has already robbed it. So it's a whodunit game, a whodunit trick-taking game, and it sounds very much like it will be in the same vein as Stich für Stich, German trick-taking game where that's use of heavy deduction in the game as well. And if you haven't tried Stich für Stich, if you can find it somewhere, try it out because it's pretty cool. 2 more games. These are not trick-taking games anymore, though. The first one is Ginza Retro Cafe. The blurb is waitresses in a retro Japanese cafe compete for popularity while completing orders. So this is a dice game where we, as waitresses, work together to complete our orders, but also try to compete to be the most popular waitress in the restaurant. So half the game is dice management, where you roll dice to serve dishes that people are wanting, or you can use the dice to buy coins to help you manipulate your dice more in future turns. And then the second half of the game is that tug of war between cooperating with the other players in the game to get these meals served while still trying to be the most popular waitress in the cafe. And the last one, I just saw that Mike DeLizio of the Dice Tower posted a picture on their Facebook page that he played this game, and I'm really jealous. It's called Sneakerheads, and the blurb is beat your rivals and get the rarest sneakers. So it seems like it's a card auction economic game where you want to buy shoes cheap and then sell them high. But it doesn't look like that. It doesn't seem like an economic game by the pictures, but the theme kind of makes it one. But don't think heavy economic game based off of what I've seen from the pictures. It's based off of the fad of collecting sneakers. That's super hot right now. And the publisher Board Bull Games has a video on their website. That's on YouTube. It's embedded on their website, but it's on YouTube, so you can find it there. It's all in Japanese, though, and I only know how to count to 10 in Japanese thanks to Bounce Patrol. Thank you, Bounce Patrol. But I couldn't understand the video at all because it was all in Japanese. But the game looked really cool. The art is really cool on it, and it looked really interesting on the table as well. So I'm very, very, very excited to see how this one plays, and I wish Mike DeLizio would answer my question of how he thought the game was. He hasn't answered yet, that son of a gun. Anyways, that is my 14 games I recommend, plus a couple second editions, an expansion, and a whole bunch of interesting sounding Japanese games. That's it for today. Peace, and stay cool.